You know that little box on the wall in millions of homes? Yeah, the thermostat. We all think we know what it does, right? Well, it turns out it's hiding a pretty powerful secret. A secret weapon, really, for understanding our homes in a way we never could before.
I mean, what if that little box could give your home a complete physical? What if it could tell you exactly how good it is at holding on to heat in the winter or staying cool in the summer, all without a single person ever needing to step inside your front door?
And this is where the secret's hiding, the ecobee smart thermostat. Now, for most of us, it's just a slick way to tweak the temperature from our phones, right? But these things are so much more than just remote controls. They are, in fact, incredibly sophisticated sensors, and they are quietly gathering a huge amount of information. So get this. Every 5 minutes, 24/7, these devices are logging the indoor temperature, grabbing the outdoor temperature from weather stations, and noting down the exact moment your furnace or your AC kicks on or off. It's just this relentless stream of data. It's like a constant conversation happening between your home and the world outside. Okay, so now imagine what happens when more than 15,000 households say yes to sharing this data. Through ecobee's Donate Your Data program, they handed it all over to researchers at Concordia University. And what you get is one of the biggest studies of its kind, and that is the key to unlocking the thermostat's big secret. All right, so what is this big secret the researchers were hunting for? Well, it all boils down to one single really powerful number. You can think of it as an energy fingerprint for your home. It's called the thermal time constant. So, the thermal time constant, or TTC for short, is basically a number measured in hours. It answers a really simple question. If you shut off the heat on a chilly day, how long does it actually take for your house to get cold? It's kind of like your home's thermal metabolism, how fast it burns through or loses energy. A house with a high TTC, that's like a thermos. It's well insulated, it's airtight, and it just holds on to its temperature for a really long time. But a house with a low TTC, well, that's more like a sieve. It's leaky, it's drafty, and it loses all that precious heat or cool air almost right away. And it's really important to get this. TTC isn't just about one single thing. It's a big picture number. It captures the combined effect of a home's insulation, how airtight it is, and even something called thermal mass. And that's just the ability of, well, everything inside, the walls, the furniture, to soak up and release heat. So, the big question is, how did these researchers listen in on 15,000 homes to find this magic number? Did they go door to door? Nope. They didn't have to visit a single one. They just had to listen to the data. They basically became data detectives. They were hunting for these very specific moments in the data that they call free running periods. And all that means is it's a time when the thermostat is set back, like when you're asleep or out of the house, and the HVAC system is totally off. And their process was super methodical. Okay, first, they dug through a whole year of data for every single home and pulled out millions of these free running periods. Then, they used a thermal model to figure out exactly how quickly the inside temperature started to drift toward the outside temperature. And from that rate of change, boom, they could calculate each home's unique thermal time constant. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Because when you do this for thousands and thousands of homes, the data starts to tell this absolutely fascinating story about how we build our houses and how we live in them, right? Across an entire continent. I mean, look at this. The data set was just incredibly diverse. It covered homes in pretty much every climate zone you can think of in North America, from the blistering heat of the South all the way up to the super cold subarctic regions. And it's that sheer scale that makes what they found so powerful. Okay, so the first big finding kind of confirmed what you'd probably guess, right? As you move into colder and colder climates, the average TTC goes up. It makes sense. Homes in those colder places are just built to be better thermoses, with more insulation and tighter seals to get through those harsh winters. And the thesis author, Camille John, said it perfectly. The data just reflects the differences you'd expect in building codes based on where a house is. The numbers told a story that lined up exactly with the real world. Pretty neat. But then, the data showed them something nobody was expecting. It turns out a house doesn't just have one TTC. Its energy fingerprint actually changes, and pretty dramatically depending on the season. The exact same house is a way better thermos in the winter than it is in the summer. So, what's going on here? How can a house's physical properties just change so much between winter and summer? Why would a home that's a great thermos in December suddenly turn into a leaky sieve in July? Well, the answer wasn't in the walls or the insulation. The answer
was us. It's the open window effect. When it gets warm, what do? We open our windows, and that ventilation just tanks a home's thermal resistance, which lowers its TTC. The secret hiding in the data wasn't just about the building, it was about our behavior.
Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff for sure. But why does this one number, the TTC, actually matter? Like, why should you care? What does it mean for your wallet, for your community, or for the power grid? Well, this is where it all gets really practical. Honestly, knowing a home's TTC is almost like having a superpower. We can instantly pinpoint which houses are the sieves that are wasting the most energy and need upgrades. Utility companies can use this to manage the power grid better, especially during crazy heat waves. We could even measure how resilient a whole neighborhood is if the power goes out during a storm. And this completely flips the script on what we think a smart thermostat is for. It's not just a fancy gadget for convenience anymore. Research from a German study actually shows it can be an incredibly powerful and cheap first step to making a home more energy efficient. And that's especially true for those older, drafty buildings that need the most help. And the numbers really back this up. For a typical house, you only need to save about 5.7% on energy for the smart thermostat to completely pay for itself in about 10 years. When you think about it, that makes it a super accessible investment for a lot of people. But what's really powerful here is that this technology empowers the people who usually have the least control. Think about renters or homeowners who just can't afford a massive $20,000 renovation. They can spend a couple $100 on a smart thermostat and start making a real measurable dent in their energy bills and their carbon footprint. And all of this from a little device we thought just turned the heat on and off. It really makes you wonder, right? If this is the kind of secret just one thermostat can unlock, just by listening to a home's thermal heartbeat, what other incredible secrets about our homes, our cities, and how we live are just waiting to be discovered inside all the other smart devices that are all around us?